What happens when a runaway bride leaves her twin sister standing at the altar, in her dress, in front of a Greek shipping billionaire who has already paid millions for the wedding? That's the moment Elena Marston froze inside a candlelit chapel above the cliffs of Santorini. Her sister Sofia had vanished hours earlier. The guests were waiting. The groom was waiting, and in his eyes, no one could tell the twins apart. Within seconds, Elena would have to make the biggest choice of her life, because the man on the other side of the aisle wasn't supposed to be hers. And by the end of the night, the truth would change everything. So who is the Greek shipping magnate at the center of the story? His name is Nikolai Stathis. 34 years old, heir to the largest cargo shipping empire in the Mediterranean. Called it sharp-jawed. Raised between mansions in Athens and boardrooms in London. The kind of man who closes billion-dollar deals before breakfast and sails his yacht alone at sunset. 2 years earlier, Nikolai's grandfather, the family patriarch, set one condition in his will. The Stathis' fortune would pass only to a married heir. With the deadline closing in, Nikolai chose Sofia, a quiet British heiress, whose family debts could be cleared by the marriage. The deal was perfect on paper. Until Sofia broke it. She left a note in Elena's hotel room, slipped past the security gates at dawn, and disappeared into the white streets of Santorini. What does Elena do when her phone rings and the family asks where Sofia is? She lies. Quietly, calmly, and only to buy time. Elena knows Sofia is gone for good. The note is clear. Sofia loved someone else, a painter in Lisbon, and could not say the words at the altar. Elena also knows what failure would mean. The Marston family is already drowning in debt. Their father's business collapsed years earlier. Their mother's health is fragile. The Stathis money was the only safety net the family had left. Elena climbs the chapel stairs in her sister's gown, her hands shaking, her face hidden behind the long veil. The plan forms in her head like glass shattering in slow motion. Stand in for the ceremony, sign the papers, get the money for her parents, find a way out. Later, but when she lifts the veil at the altar, Nikolai's dark eyes meet hers, and something in his face shifts. He knows. He doesn't say a word. Simply nods, and the priest begins. What happens when the lights go down and the guests leave? The real conversation begins. That night, inside the Stathis villa overlooking the dark Aegean Sea, Nikolai stands by the open balcony and finally speaks. You aren't her. Elena doesn't deny it. She tells him everything. The note, the painter, the debt. The reason she walked up the aisle wearing a name that wasn't hers. Nikolai listens. He pours 2 glasses of wine and slides one across the table. He could ruin the marriage. He could call the lawyers. He could send her home with nothing. Instead, he says one sentence that flips the story. My grandfather's will requires a wife, not a specific one. Elena stares at him. Nikolai's deal is simple. Stay married for 1 year. Play the role in public. Sign the contract. At the end of 12 months, she walks away with the money her family needs. Elena agrees. What changes between Elena and Nikolai in the weeks that follow? Everything. At first, the marriage stays cold. Separate bedrooms, polite dinners, quiet boardrooms. Elena spends her days exploring the cliffs of Santorini and writing letters home. Nikolai disappears 4 hours into meetings, but slowly, the lines between act and real begin to blur. He notices that Elena reads the books in his library, not just the magazines on the coffee table. He notices that she laughs at his quiet jokes, the ones his executives are too scared to react to. She notices that he texts his grandmother every morning, that he gives expensive watches to staff after their kids are born. That, under the cold suit, there's a man no one ever taught how to be soft. One night, he finds her crying in the garden over her mother's last hospital bill. He doesn't say a word. He simply sits beside her, takes her hand, and pays the bill from his phone. Elena looks up, her heart pounding. What happens when Sofia comes back? She returns 3 months in. The painter left her. She lost the money she had, and she shows up at the Stathis villa one stormy morning, ringing the gate buzzer and crying. Elena lets her inside. Nikolai watches from the upstairs window. Sofia demands her place back. The marriage is mine, she says. The will is mine. The money is mine. Elena listens, then quietly closes the door behind her. She walks to the balcony. Nikolai is waiting. Elena tells him she will leave if he wants her to. She tells him Sofia was the original deal. Nikolai looks at her for a long moment. Then he says, "The deal changed the day you said yes at the altar. I don't want her. I never did." That sentence carries everything. The truth. The promise. The line crossed. What did the wedding look like to the guests who never knew the truth? A fairy tale. The chapel above the cliffs of Santorini had been lit with hundreds of small candles. White roses lined every pew. The Aegean Sea sparkled through the open windows behind the altar. 200 guests sat in silence as Elena walked down the aisle in her sister's white silk gown. The veil fell low across her face. Her hands were steady. Her breath was slow. When the priest asked the bride to say her vows, Elena's voice carried clear across the stone floors. She spoke about love, about chance, about promises. The guests assumed she was simply Sofia, nervous but radiant. Only Nikolai knew the truth, and the way he looked at her, locked on her face with quiet curiosity, made every guest in the chapel believe they were watching a great love story. They were, just not the one anyone had planned. What changed in Nikolai during the months that Elena lived in his villa? Slowly, everything. The cold, controlled man who ran one of the largest shipping empires in Europe started showing up to dinner earlier. He started taking walks along the cliffs instead of staying locked in his office. He started smiling at his housekeeper, his chef, and his driver in ways nobody had seen in years. His grandmother, who lived in a small house in northern Greece, noticed the change first. During a quiet phone call, she said only one sentence to him: "Whoever she is, don't let her go." Nikolai never told his grandmother who Elena really was, or how the marriage had started. He didn't need to. The change in his voice told her everything. Inside the Stathis empire, his board members noticed too. Meetings ended earlier. Negotiations softened. The man who once chased every dollar was suddenly making decisions that protected the future instead of the profits. What happened to Sofia after she walked out of the villa? Nobody quite knows. Some say she ran back to her painter in Lisbon. Others say she vanished into a small French town and never gave another interview. The press tried to find her for months, but she stayed gone, the way only someone who really wants to disappear can stay gone. Elena never spoke of her sister again in public. Whatever passed between the twins that morning before the wedding stayed between them. Some bonds break and never heal. Others bend and quietly reshape themselves into something new. Whichever happened between Elena and Sofia, the result was the same. If this story pulled you in, hit the like button so more readers can find it. Subscribe to catch the next billionaire romance the moment it drops. And share this with someone who still believes the wrong choice can sometimes lead to the right life.